Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Please Put Them On Takamine-san Season 1, Episode 8. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode. So let's break it down. So we're immediately picking up where last episode left off. We're now getting a proper introduction to our new character, Ellie. Turns out it's a childhood friend situation. Her and Koshi went to the same school together up until elementary school, and then in middle school, she transferred to a different school, and so they haven't seen each other for like 5 years. And so she immediately recognized him. He didn't recognize her immediately, and so they're hanging out. We find out she's a little bit of an amateur model and everything like that. But yeah, she wants to hang out. She goes back, takes him to the playground they used to play at, which is interesting because it's also near the location he would meet up with Takane like all those years ago when they were taking care of the cat. Granted, once again, he doesn't remember that or hasn't pieced it together. That's super obviously Takane-san. So, but either way, when it's all said and done, it turns into like a balloon fight situation because she wants to do it. So she runs all the way back to the convenience store because she's like, hey, whoever loses this water balloon fight has to pay for some ice cream. But it's like, if you're running to the convenience store, why don't you just buy ice cream? But she's like, no, it tastes much better when you earn it after battle. And then like, I love her like way around it was going to be like, hey, I never gave any regulations on how big the water balloons can get. And she made a massive one, exploded. But, you know, her shirt's wet. She's not wearing a bra. So that becomes a whole conversation. And then she starts lifting her shirt, being like, yeah, see, it's dry now. Because for her, she's like, the boundaries between how a girl should act around guys, it's like not something she's familiar with because she's going to like years and years of being at an all-girls school. So, but once again, as Takane puts it later on too, your boundaries with girls is kind of like out of whack too. So she's a little too friendly. Because my conversation last episode was I wasn't sure she was going to be like an ally with the whole Takane-san of it all. Of like, oh, I'm going to be there to like. I don't know why I keep adding the san to it. I don't know why I keep doing that. Sorry. I'm taking the like the Takamine-san title, and I think I'm just attributing it to her first name too. Tangents on either side. Takane. I didn't know if she was going to be like a love ride. I didn't know which route they were going to go with the story. Seems like it is the whole like, oh, I'm going to support you type of situation. We'll get there soon enough. But there's a conversation that comes up about I forgot what sparked the conversation about going back to the whole cram school conversation. Because I think she had said something and he was like, I can't remember what it was. I don't know if it was like a job thing or conversation, but it led into the cram school conversation. He let her know like, yo, there's a friend I have that was kind of like, she's like, that person looked like extra disappointed and I feel like I let them down. So he's like, you're normally the type to give up, but it's like, I want to, and especially because of the whole earlier in the season race situation, it's like Takane has kind of brought Koshi a little more out of his shell in a lot of ways. That it's that thing of it's not going to be until further down the line that he's able to fully look back at these experiences and recognize how much he's changed and grown for the better. But yeah, he tells her, Ellie, like, yeah, I have this friend and I feel like I let them down. So I want to, try and work towards going to the same school as him. And Ellie's like, oh, you must be doing, is this your girlfriend? He's like, no, I don't have a girlfriend. Like, that's not possible. It's like, oh, why are you like getting extra offensive about it? It's like, you must love this person. He's like, wait, he starts thinking about it. He's like, wait, do I love her? He's like, I respect her, but love, that's not possible, right? But Ellie's kind of cheering it on for that whole situation of like obviously it's someone you care about very deeply to kind of go this far, and so she ends up dropping a little bit of her ice cream on his neck and licks it off, thinking there's no big problem. And she's like, oh, but I probably shouldn't have done that. And now he's envisioning like, like, wait, she's like, I probably shouldn't be licking boys. And he's thinking like, well, you're not supposed to lick boys, but does that mean you're uncomfortable licking girls or whatever? Because she thinks it's not that big of a deal. And he's envisioning Ellie and Takane together. And then he's thinking to himself like, oh my God, what would Takane say in this moment? Calling him like Hirota Kun and stuff like that, which she immediately shows up with a sinister energy and being like, oh, and it becomes, she brings up the title of the episode like, oh, you two look pretty intimate, and I love that. It's like the worst timing possible, and she's like, oh, what's going on between you two? Like, oh, this is very fascinating situation for me to find you in, because she never really did she ever really clarify why she was in the area. I mean, obviously she probably lives close enough, I guess, but it's like I don't remember her specifying why she was in the area. She probably didn't, I just don't remember, or maybe she kind of like went over, like skipped over that. Either way, it's kind of like, oh yeah, like what were you guys up to? What were you doing? Who is this? Asking all these questions. And once again, it's her bashful side when she acts so calm, cool, and collected, but then she kind of gets caught off guard when Ellie's like, oh, like, do you want to participate too? And pulls out the water balloon. But the problem is, in her mind, all Takane sees is she's thinking it's a condom, and she's like, wait, you guys were about to do it, like, really? It's like, oh, if you want to, you can join in us. And she's thinking it's a threesome. She's like, what's going on? Because she's trying to pull it together, be like, oh, like, don't assume this and that. But it's just kind of like, wow, Koshi, you're willing just to kind of hook up with anyone, aren't you? And even he's like, yeah, because she's like, are you really going to do this? He was like, yeah, I don't, if you give me permission, if you say it's okay, then yeah. And she's just kind of, he's like, yeah, like, if do you want to kind of do it, like, no problem. And she slaps him because she's like, you doing that shouldn't just be kind of a casual thing. It'd be something you have an emotional connection with someone. But then Ellie had to correct her, being like, oh, I'm sorry, this is actually on me. Because she finally pieced it together when they were talking, where it's like, oh, you're the friend that he's going to cram school for. But then she also realizes who Takane is, because she's like, oh my God, like, we were in the same PE class or something years and years ago. And it's like, oh, remember me? I'm Ellie. And kind of realizing like, oh, a water balloon, like, yeah, I'm the reason why he was trying to, I dragged him away and forced him to do like a water balloon fight. And she's looking at it, finally realizing, because she sees the packaging, like, oh, they're water balloons, not condoms. So it's like, once again, like, her blowing up the way she did, I thought was so amazing, because it's like I said, it's those moments where she thinks she's so in control, but then like there are moments where the mask slips and, like, her heart is on her sleeves, and it's just kind of like, she, like, because she, in those moments, it's kind of like especially because Koshi is so oblivious to her obviously having feelings for him. And so it's like, she thinks she's doing such a fantastic job, like, oh, he's completely unaware. To be fair, he's extremely dense, and she's gotten pissed about how dense he is. But for the most part, she thinks like, okay, I've got him wrapped around my finger, like, this is proceeding the way I want to. She's so calculated with everything. But then it's moments where it's just like, no, like, she gets caught off guard, and she's just kind of like a little more herself than she wants to be seen. So um but yeah, Ellie ultimately sends Koshi to go get some drinks and snacks, and she's like, right, you like, you're in love with him. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, it's okay, like, being like, it's super obvious, being like, oh my God, you're so cute. In fact, that's making you even cuter. You've even gotten prettier in the time we haven't seen each other. But it is super obvious of like, yeah, you love Koshi. And she's even like, right, I get it, I totally understand. Like, she's like, in retrospect, I like, if it was a misunderstanding, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I recognize, like, right, if someone was doing all that with someone I loved, I'd probably have an issue too. So, but yeah, she's like, okay, Ellie, fine, have whatever fantasies you want to have in your head, but you better not tell them anyone. She's like, of course not, sure. She's probably thinking like, okay, you're very bashful, you'll tell Koshi how you feel when the time comes, and so she doesn't want to ruin that. I think she is going to just be like, I'm here to support you. Like, I don't think it's going to be a love triangle situation. I think it's like, yeah, like, I haven't seen you in so long, and she's very still kid-like in her head and got super energetic meeting one of her friends again. So, but she has like a modeling gig coming up. I'm assuming, like, Koshi's future run-ins with her, she's going to be like doing like modeling stuff, and she's going to be very klutzy, and he's going to find himself in very ichi, compromising positions. Feels like that storyline kind of feels like it fall into those cliches slash tropes. So, but as she was leaving, it's like, oh, I'll see you at cram school. And then it's like, oh, so you're going to the same cram school as her. Is it a cram school for like, promiscuous women? It's like, why would I go to a place like that willingly? And he brings it up like, no, like, after you said what you said, like I wanted to decide to go to give it a shot to go to a cram school. And he's like, yeah, I want to give it a shot to go into the same places, because he's like, with things what they are, he's like, with the summer situation being what it is, I can pay for the summer lessons with my own money, so I don't have to worry about taking anything from my mom, because the biggest concern was like, right, I want my sister to be able to go to college, and I don't want to take away anything, put any financial strain or extra on them that could go towards her going to college. So obviously it strikes a chord with Takane hearing that, but she's also upset because she's like, oh, it's so annoying that she that natural born slut. I was like, Jesus, Takane. She was like, it's upsetting that she found out before I did. At first I'd almost thought, like, are you going to rewind time so that you've technically found out beforehand? But once again, it doesn't erase the fact is that Koshi knows that Ellie found out first, but that's probably also why she didn't do it, because she's like, it defeats the purpose, because it doesn't change the fact is that I already have the knowledge now. It won't change. Even if I rewrite your history to make, I still know that she found out before me, and Koshi will know that, and it'll be kind of like, wait, why did you rewind time to be the first one? So it's kind of a moot point. But at the same time, she's extremely happy, because it's like nice to know like you are going this far for her, because her thing is also, because she tried to hide it, but she couldn't fully hide her disappointment and how out of sorts she was. Because even early on, like during their discussion, he was like, "Oh, I thought you weren't like feeling well." She's like, "What are you talking about? I'm always in top form. You were so draining and annoying to deal with, so I always got to be on top of my top form and stuff like that." So, but he's like, "No, I guess she actually is in top form." But once again, her bravado trying to keep up this like masquerade. But yeah, because of this whole situation, it's like she is willing to help him out studying, because it's like, because she's like, normally I would comment on how like, oh, it is kind of stupid of you recklessly making this decision so last minute, because it's like, how will you like fully cover like the financial situation plus like the hard work it needs, like it would still need to rely on you getting your grades boosted, and it's like there's no shortcut for that, because she's like, honestly, I am commending your decision to do what you're doing, but also like, right, you could get scholarship aids and stuff like that to cover some of the financial stuff, but it's like, you still have, there's no shortcuts to the learning process. So she's like, right, I offer my help, and he's like, no, I don't want to be a bother. She rewinds time. Cool. When I said that I'm offering you my help, which I am, you're supposed to just say thank you. And he's like, you literally rewound time. Yeah, I stumbled on that. Sorry. You literally rewound time for that. It's like, yes. It's, once again, the most unnecessary things, but has him slip her underwear on. And it's just kind of like, it's once again a nice notion that, he's willing to go this far. So they go back to like, either probably her house, it might have been his house, whatever the case may be, to go study. And she's in her like teacher outfit, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's like, oh, he wants to go for me. And she's like, oh, isn't that pretty dope, knowing that like he's willing to try for her sake. Because it's like, I don't know. I don't know if that makes her happier in the long run, because like her kind of forcing him to come along and him being like, okay, I'll do it for your sake. But now it's a little different, because now it's like, no, he's making the decision on his own to go so he can go to the same school as you. So I think it adds a little bit more like, oh, that's sweet, and probably makes her a little bit more happier this end result. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where things go with the studying. Obviously, the introduction of Ellie, like how many more appearances we get of Ellie. Plus, like I brought up previously, there are 2 more protagonists. We've seen in the intro that we don't know who they are. It is interesting when you look at it, because the pairing is Ellie and that black-haired girl, but then like the dude character is like off on his own in the intro, so I'm like wondering what the correlation is going to be there. Especially considering like this is like, it's very interesting like setup for this series, considering like, because most characters are nameless and faceless in the show, like Koshi and Takane are the only characters we've really seen in this series. So for it to be like, oh, we're finally 8 episodes into the season, finally getting another character, a named character, an important character, is kind of interesting. Like I said, there being only 2 more, it's going to be interesting to see what role they play. But I'm excited to see ultimately where the next episode ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.